Today I'm going to share an end of year homeschool wrap up for my first grader, my 7-year-old Mariah. I'm going to share all of the curriculum that we used that worked, that didn't work, and everything in between. Grab some coffee and let's go. Alright, so today is going to kick off a little mini series I'm doing here on my channel. It is an end of year homeschool wrap up. First up, I'm going to devote a video to each of my school aged kids, my first grader, my 6th grader, and my 7th grader, and I'm going to talk through all of their independent subjects that they have done this year and talk through curriculum, what worked, what didn't, and everything in between. I'm also going to do a video devoted to our group time or our morning time subjects that we do together as a family, and I will do a summary and talk about how things went this year in our homeschool. So if you have not done so already, please take a second, subscribe to our channel so you do not miss any of that upcoming content. If you are new around here, hi, my name is Sarah. I am the homeschool mom of 5 kids. They are currently ages 13, 12, 7, 3, and 18 months old. We are currently finishing up our 9th year of homeschooling, and if I had to label us, which I don't love to do, I would say that we are an eclectic homeschool. We definitely lean towards unit studies, Charlotte Mason, and a little bit of traditional schooling thrown in the mix. Today I want to talk all about my first grader, Mariah, who is 7 years old. Actually, she's going to be 8 in just a few weeks. And I want to talk through all of the curriculum that I used with her for her independent subjects. Now, she is my middle child. She is the 3rd child that I have taught to read, that I have homeschooled, and so she definitely benefits from the experience and trial and error that I went through with her older brother and sister. She is a hands-on learner. She wants to learn by doing. She needs to feel it, touch it, try it out for herself a couple of times. And I'm not this type of learner. I'm a visual learner. So I've had to really think outside of the box when it comes to some of my curriculum choices with her to really hone in and help her to learn things well. Now, I'm sharing all of this about our homeschool style, about Mariah's personality and learning styles, because this is going to give you an obvious disclaimer. Today, I am going to talk about curriculum and things that have worked for our homeschool, for this child, and for this season of life. Things that work for us may not work for you, and things that are working really well in your homeschool may not be a good fit for us. That is one of my favorite things about homeschooling. It is one of the beauties of homeschooling in today's society. Okay, gonna get off my soapbox. Let's jump in and talk about the things that worked for Mariah this year in our homeschool. All right, so first up, math. Math worked really well for Mariah this year. We used Math UC's alpha level, and obviously, it comes with all kinds of hands-on manipulatives, and it is Math UC, and so it worked really well for my little hands-on learner. That being said, we actually moved through the curriculum a little bit slower than I thought we would. I learned from doing math with Noah and Leah that you really have to master those basics, and so I knew that we should not move on until she had those addition and subtraction problems memorized like the back of her hand. She didn't need to think about them at all. And so we kind of moved slowly through the curriculum, and I added in some other activities to kind of keep it fun and interesting as we were memorizing those basic addition and subtraction facts. We liked using a lot of counting bears or counting objects. These are actually like counting farm animals. There's all kinds of different things out there for this, but these were really fun to practice our math facts. We did flashcards. There's apps out there that you can use on your iPad or on your phone. All kinds of different ways to practice those addition and subtraction. These little counting objects are also great for word problems. Sometimes, you know, having that auditory word problem was a little bit hard for her to visualize, so I could get out little objects and we could count them and look at the problem like right in front of us, you know, what's 2 cows plus 3 cows, that kind of thing. So having some objects outside of just the Math UC blocks was super helpful. The other product that Mariah really loved was this addition machine. Now this is from Lakeshore Learning. If you've never seen one of these before, you can just go through, and they are a little bit loud. I'm going to warn you, not something you want to use when your babies are napping. But let's say you want to say, what is 7 plus 4? And they can pop it, and lo and behold, the answer is right down here. 7 plus 4 is 11. And so they can go through and kind of test themselves and see which ones they know and which ones they need to work on. And they're just like little fun buttons to push. So this was a really great tool. There are ones for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. This was really, really great. We also utilized this 100 board. I've talked about this before here on my channel. This is just a laminated 100 board. It has it on the front and then it's blank on the back. We used this a lot when she was practicing skip counting, when she was learning her plus 5s, and she would go through and do 5, 10, 15, 20, or memorizing her 10s, things like that. We could use a dry erase marker and mark on here and erase them. So she used this almost every single day. I've talked about this before. This is my Treasures from Jennifer number board. It's a 2-sided board. It has 0 through 9 on the front, and then it has just some little counting spots on the back. Now, this was fun when she was in preschool and in kindergarten to learn all of her different numbers and to practice her counting. We used this board a lot in first grade just as a visual reminder of what direction a 3 goes, what direction a 5 goes. It was just always nice to have this right next to her math so she could always look up and see all of the different numbers. The next independent subject that worked really well for Mariah was Happy Cheetah. Now, you guys know that I have done videos on my channel here lately, unboxings and reviews of this curriculum. So I will make sure to link those down below, as well as any other products I mentioned today. I'll try to make sure I put links for everything I can down below in the show notes in the description box. But Happy Cheetah, Mariah finished the kindergarten set of this curriculum, and then we moved into the first grade workbooks back in, about the middle of February or so. And so she is working through that first grade level. It'll probably take us through most of the summer, maybe even into the fall to finish that up. But as I said, I have just learned going slow and steady in these early years is really, really important, and not rushing things. So Happy Cheetah has been great. It is an all-in-one language arts program. So it is her phonics, her reading, her spelling, handwriting. It covers everything. Not to say that I don't supplement with other items, but Happy Cheetah has just been a blessing to her and to our homeschool this year. Oh golly, I'm sorry. Noah is outside mowing, and of course he's mowing right outside the window as I am filming. So sorry if you hear that in the background. But speaking of phonics, speaking of readers, I did also pair Happy Cheetah with some additional readers that Mariah worked on throughout the year. I've talked about that in some of my videos previously. First of all, she did some readers from Sing, Spell, Read, and Write. This is the phonics curriculum that I used with my older kids, Noah and Leah, when they were her age. And so they're just nostalgic. They're a little bit, you know, of just like a family culture thing. Reading these books has been really fun. And so she's been working her way through some of those readers. She also has really enjoyed the I Can Read It sets. These are from Sunlight, I believe. And so she read all of book 1 and into book 2. If you have never checked out Pathway Publishers, little readers like this, these are great. They're just little black and white, very simple readers. And some of them even have you take turns with your child where you will read a portion out loud to them and then they will read a portion to you. So these have been fun extra readers that we have done as well. And then lastly, just within the last couple of weeks, Mariah has been so excited and so pumped. She has been able to start reading some of the Little Bear books on her own. Now, I've read all of these to her dozens of times, so she is very familiar with the context of these books, but she's been reading Little Bear stories out loud to my younger ones, to my 3-year-old and my 18-month-old at nap time. And so the Little Bear series and then the Frog and Toad series, those have been great readers for first grade. Staying in the vein of language arts, next I'm going to talk about Handwriting Without Tears. Now, I know I said the Happy Cheetah is an all-in-one language arts curriculum, but I do like to supplement with some extra handwriting, and so Mariah worked through the My Printing book from the first grade level of Handwriting Without Tears. And honestly, this curriculum worked a little bit too well. She flew through the workbook and was done with it by about January, and we were left trying to figure out what to do next. And so I toyed with the idea of moving her into the second grade book, but I ended up just kind of coming up with our own copy work and things like that to get her through the rest of her first grade year. And then to go along with that, I've talked about this product here before on my channel, but these wood pieces set from Handwriting Without Tears. This is the one for capital letters. There's also one for lowercase letters. If you're not familiar with these, it is just curved and straight pieces of blocks where you can build the letters physically. So I don't know, is this backwards to you guys? I'll do it both ways. I don't know. Anyways, they can build a letter D, a letter A, a letter B, things like that. They're short pieces and small pieces. They're great. To go along with those, I also have these laminated cards from Handwriting Without Tears where they can take those blocks on there and build the letters. Again, this is great for hands-on learners who need some extra help working on their letter formations. So these have been really helpful for Mariah. I will be honest that they are a little bit pricey in my opinion. They're a little bit expensive, but if you are looking for something for your hands-on learner, they are a great tool. All right, another subject that worked really well for Mariah this year was my ABC Bible verses. She used this with me for her Bible study, devotional, things like that. It goes through and has you memorize a verse to go with every single letter of the alphabet. So A, soft answer turns away wrath. B, blessed are the peacemakers. C, children obey your parents. Just very short Bible verses that go along with a little devotional. Now, we didn't quite finish this book. We are not as far through it as I wanted to be at this point in the year. But that being said, Mariah has memorized more than a dozen scriptures this year, more than a dozen Bible verses. And so that is a win in my book. On top of that, she hasn't just memorized them, she understands what they mean and she knows how to use them in context. If she is feeling like she's bickering with her brother, I can say, hey, Mariah, what's the letter A verse? And she can say, a soft answer turns away wrath. And she knows, okay, I need to calm down and use a quieter, more self-controlled voice. So she's memorized a lot of scripture and she's using it in daily life. So this has definitely worked. We've really enjoyed this devotional from Susan Hunt. So for history, science, geography, we normally use those as family subjects, group time subjects, but something I supplemented with for Mariah this year was this maps, charts, and graphs workbooks. She did letter A and she's almost finished with this one, letter B, neighborhoods. These have been great, but she could not do these independently. These were something I had to sit and do with her side by side. They were great though for teaching her just some basic geography skills, how to read a compass, how to look at a bird's eye view of a map. They are very much on her level for early elementary, first grade, that sort of thing. And so these have been a great geography supplement. These would be a wonderful addition if you're just looking for something to do with your child, maybe through the summer or something like that. But we really enjoyed these maps, charts, and graphs workbooks. All right, so moving on to a few subjects that did not work so well for Mariah this year. First of all, I mentioned this in my mid-year update. This was literature storytime treasures. Now, nothing wrong with this curriculum. My older kids, Noah and Leah, they used this when they were in first grade and absolutely loved it. We just ran out of time. We read a lot of really good literature books and did a lot of read alouds and paired a lot of things with gather round in our group subjects and unit studies. And so this was just kind of one of her subjects that kind of fell off. And that's okay. I ended up just shelving it midway through the year. We might try to work on some of it maybe next year for second grade, but literature storytime treasures just didn't fit into our schedule this year. But I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for a literature study for your first grader. All right, so lastly, I want to talk about Gather Round's government study. Now, I know I'm going to wait and talk about Gather Round when I talk about our family subjects, but this was kind of individual to Mariah, so I wanted to include it here in this video. We did the government unit study in the fall around election time. Honestly, it was way, way over Mariah's head. She did her best trying to color in the pre-reader pages and she liked making the little mini books, but most of the government concepts were just way too intense and way too much information for her to be able to, really get her mind wrapped around. And so I ended up ditching it and just like kind of excusing her from those lessons about halfway through the study. And instead I used heritage studies with her. This was something I already had on my bookshelf from BJU Press. We read some of the lessons aloud from this. This is book 1, and we also did some from book 2. This is just a very traditional style of history of social studies that you can do with your first grader. It just gives them some very basic information about their government, about the world around them, about Christopher Columbus and Jamestown and things like that. We did not do any of the worksheets or workbooks or tests that go along with this. We just simply read this aloud. I read it to her and she would look at the pictures and I would maybe ask her some questions as we went. And so this was a much better fit for her for history, for government this fall. Okay guys, well that wraps things up for today. Make sure that you stay tuned here on our channel. I will be sharing videos for my 6th grader and for my 7th graders individual subjects. And I'm also going to be making a video wrapping up our homeschool year about how things went and during our group time, during our family subjects, with Gather Round, with nature journals, with foreign language, things like that. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, please take a second to like it down below, give it a thumbs up. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I hope that you are enjoying wrapping up your homeschool year. See you later.